I want to thank God for being able to get up here one more time.
Okay, we're going to go to Luke 15. This is 16. All right, chapter 15, verse 11. He said, "A certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portions of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together, and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine. And he would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. And when he came to himself, he said, How many hired servants of my father's have bread enough to spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But he was yet a great way off. His father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe, and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet, and bring hither the fatted calf, and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead, and is alive again.
That's what God had been dealing with me this week on this. I've read this scripture many a times before, but in what I've got out of the scripture is, am I giving God my best? He gave the best robe that he had. He killed the fatted calf. That's, to me, it's kind of the best calf that they had on the whole place. And back in that time, I'm sure that calf was worth something, but the thing that God has dealt with me this week, and am I giving God my best, or am I giving him the second best? Am I going in my field and finding the scraggliest cow that I got and giving it to God? Because where am I putting my best? Am I putting it in the world? Am I giving the world the beginning? If I start off my day and run off and go on out and get in the world, then I'm putting the world before God. Because your day goes a lot better when you give God time at the beginning. But it's so easy to get entangled with things of this world that, I got to get this done, I got to get that. And then it's easy to, I'll get this and then I'll pray. Or I'm preaching on myself here. I maybe you all have got it all together, but I am lacking of giving God my best. Because he gave the best for us. So he expects us to give the best that we have to him. But just like he said, he gave him the best robe that he had. The best. Even though his son had run off and done the things, wasted everything that his daddy had worked for his whole life. But he gave him the best. And as you go on down, his other son wasn't too pleased with that. Am I being the other son, or am I being the father to God? We'll go ahead and read on it.
For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. Now his elder son was in the field, and as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said unto him, Thy brother is come, and thy father hath killed the fatted calf, because he hath received him safe and sound. And he was angry, and would not go in. Therefore came his father out and entreated him. And he answering said to his father, Lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgressed I at any time thy commandment, and yet thou never gavest me a kid, that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this thy son was come, which hath devoured thy living with harlots, thou hast killed for him the fatted calf. And he said unto him, Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. It was meet that we should make merry and be glad, for this thy brother was dead, and is alive again, and was lost, and is found.
See, his brother wasn't so happy there. He was jealous there that God had helped him instead of helping him, Because that's man's way of thinking. Because he done good with his portion that his father had given him, and the other one didn't. So man's way of thinking is, why are you helping him? Why didn't you help me? I've give you my best, and he's really not. But that's why it's so important to give God your best. Whatever entangles you in this world that holds you from giving God your best. Whether it's a job or whatever, because I've got myself in that. I've took on a job, or working on a car or something, and you're dedicated to it until it's done. But how many times did I push God back to make time to work on that car, when I should have pushed that car back and made time for God? So that's how important it is to know that you're giving God your best. And anything that will pull you away from being in God's house, or if you choose to go do something, if something's going to keep you that night from coming in God's house, then you're putting that before God. I've done it. I've done it time and time again. You would think I would have learned by now, but I guess hopefully one of these days I'll eventually get it and learn. But that's how important it is to put God first. Because whatever that is that you're putting before God will perish. Whether it's a job or a hobby or whatever it is, it will perish. One day that job ain't going to need you no more. You're going to get in a state that you're no longer needed. But God always needs you. He always wants you. Even when that job has pushed you away. Said we no longer need you. God is there. And God will take care of you no matter how you see it. God will take care of you. As long as you put Him first. Because it talks about how God is a jealous God. He wants your full. He wants everything from you. But hopefully I'll eventually get this so I can quit going around this same old mountain. That's just how important it is to always to put God first. Because when you put God first, it will work out for you. You know, how many times have I not put God first on something, went and done something else and it didn't turn out right? If I would have put God first in that, it might have been a different outcome in that situation. No matter how big or how small this little thing seems, God cares. That's just how important it is to always to put God first. Because it will run a lot smoother. Because God was willing to give the best that He had for you, for me and me. So if He's willing to give up what He gave up, then He's not going to give up on you that easy. If He was, He would have done give up on me. But that's what God has dealt with me this week, is on giving the best. I know this ain't been very long, but that's what God has given me for this morning. I'll find us a place to pray.